Daniel Brooks lived in Dallas, Texas, in a large mansion that looked perfect from outside, but inside, it was full of silence, the kind of silence that feels heavy on the heart. He was a billionaire, a man everyone respected in business. But at home, he was just a broken father trying to hold on to what was left of his life. His only daughter, Lucy, a small 3-year-old girl who once filled the house with laughter, had changed completely after the death of her mother. It all started 9 months ago, when Lucy's mother died in a car accident. Since that day, Lucy stopped smiling, stopped playing, and slowly stopped eating. Day by day, she became weaker. Her small body looked fragile, her eyes lost their light, and she would just sit in her room holding her mother's photo without speaking to anyone. Daniel tried everything money could buy: doctors, specialists, therapists, but nothing worked. She refused food from everyone, even from him, the man she once ran into his arms every morning. The mansion staff tried their best, but Lucy would scream and cry whenever a new face came close. Daniel had already hired and fired many maids, not because they were bad, but because Lucy could not accept any stranger. The house that once felt like a home now felt like a hospital of sadness, and Daniel blamed himself every single day. He remembered that night clearly. He had worked late, and Lucy's mother had gone out to pick him up. That was the night everything ended. One morning, Daniel sat beside Lucy's bed, watching her sleep. Her small body looked too weak for her age. He called her name softly, but she did not respond. That was when he realized he was losing her too, not just emotionally, but physically. The doctors had already warned him that her body was becoming dangerously weak, but he still felt helpless, like a man standing in front of a wall he could not break. Then came a moment that would change everything. A young woman arrived at the mansion gates. Her name was Grace. She was not educated in childcare. She had no special training. She had no perfect resume. But she had something different, something calm in her eyes, something warm in her voice. She came looking for work out of desperation, and Daniel, for reasons he could not explain, decided to give her a chance, even though he had already lost hope in everyone else. The staff watched her carefully as she walked inside the mansion for the first time. Some even whispered that she would not last a day, but Grace did not seem afraid. She only asked where Lucy's room was, and slowly she walked toward it. The door opened gently, and inside the dark, quiet room sat a little girl curled up with a photo of her mother. Grace did not rush. She did not speak loudly. She simply sat down far away from Lucy and waited, as if she understood that healing does not start with force, it starts with patience. Grace returned the next day, and the next, always at the same quiet time. She never forced Lucy to talk, never tried to carry her, never begged her to eat. She simply brought a small wooden puppet, a little bunny, and used it as a gentle friend in the room. She made it hop slowly across the floor, sometimes fall down, sometimes act shy, and sometimes act silly, as if it was learning how to live. At first, Lucy only watched from her corner, her arms wrapped tightly around her mother's photo, but something small began to change. Her eyes started following the puppet, just a little. Then one day her shoulder relaxed. Then another day she moved slightly closer without even noticing it herself. Grace never celebrated loudly. She just smiled softly and kept going, as if she believed in something no one else could see yet. By the 6th day, Lucy's fingers touched the edge of the puppet, and Grace did not move it away. She simply let her be. On the 8th day, Lucy whispered a very small sound, almost nothing. But it was the first sound she had made in months. Daniel saw this from outside the door, standing still, afraid to even breathe too loud. He could not believe what he was seeing. His daughter was slowly coming back. Still, Lucy refused to eat. Her body remained weak, and the doctors warned Daniel again that time was running out. That same morning, Grace went to the kitchen early and prepared something simple: warm milk, soft bread, and a little honey. Nothing special, just something gentle for a child who had stopped trusting the world. When she entered Lucy's room, she did not offer the food first. Instead, she played with the puppet again, making it sit beside the plate, pretending it was hungry too. Lucy watched closely, her eyes fixed. Then Grace broke a small piece of bread and gave it to the puppet, saying softly that it could not eat alone. Lucy hesitated for a long moment, her hands shaking. Then slowly she took a tiny piece. She first tried to feed the puppet, then stopped. Her lips trembled, and for the first time in a long time, she placed the bread in her own mouth. Daniel covered his mouth outside the door, tears filling his eyes as he watched his daughter chew and swallow. Grace did not shout or celebrate. She only whispered that she was proud of her. From that day, everything began to change. Lucy started eating little by little. She allowed Grace to brush her hair and even began walking outside into the garden, holding her hand tightly. The mansion that once felt empty slowly began to feel alive again, and Daniel finally started to breathe without pain in his chest. One evening, Lucy asked Grace a question that made her pause. She asked if she would leave like her mother did. Grace knelt beside her and promised she would stay. Daniel heard those words and felt something break inside him, something heavy finally letting go. That night, for the first time in years, the house was not silent. It was filled with small laughter again, and Daniel understood that money had never been the answer. It was patience, kindness, and someone willing to stay when everyone else gave up. If you enjoy stories like this, you'll like what's next.